Welcome everyone to our inspiring and motivating IAPC&M author series, where we get to pick the brains of those who actually make it to the end, the famous 3% who actually get their books published. This series can be found on our blog, which also complements our book review, so be sure to check it out. So maybe you too are thinking, dreaming, hoping, wanting to get a book out, but somehow it's not there yet. Then you're in the right place. So my name is Julie Kennedy, and I am your IAPC&M host, all the way right now from a very windy shore in the Netherlands. And today we are very fortunate in welcoming Sandiip Panndit. And I love his title, Life Alchemist and founder of Soul in Harmony, right? I already feel better just listening to that. And of course, he is author of a book, Igniting Conscious Leadership. Is it lying dormant within you? So welcome, Sandeep. Wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Julie, for having me on the show.
Right. I mean, my first question is always a very straightforward one, is why did you even want to write a book?
Well, yes. The genesis of writing this book was something that was going in within me from my childhood, and that is that was my core value, and that is personal growth. So the
Okay.
reason why I related leadership with personal growth is because I realized, Julie, that a lot of us are talking about leadership and we are relating it in our mind about leading others.
Right.
But what is the precursor to leading others? And that is about leading the self.
Good one.
And that's where I, coined a 5-step framework, which I later on trademarked it and named it as Soul in Harmony Conscious Leadership Framework, which is a 5-step framework which starts with self-awareness and ends with unified and purposeful growth.
Right.
4 out of these 5 steps is inward facing, surprisingly. And
Very wise.
Yes. And only the 5th stage, which is unified and purposeful growth, relates to the team, the society, the country, or who we want to lead,
I
right?
get it.
So this was the major reason why I wrote the
You
book.
really had a message you wanted to share, right? And I mean, what you've just said actually sounds like very much like a masterclass that we could do with an IPC&M. So we're delighted to have you back in that context as well. So, okay, so you decided I've got a message, which is important because indeed lots of us do think, oh, leadership is leading others and forget about where it starts. But so then how did you go about it? Because lots of us have got ideas and, we get lost in the woods of either having too much to say, not enough to say, and not knowing how to structure it, not knowing how to publish it, not knowing how to finance it. So tell me a little bit about how did you go about this?
And let me tell you, and to all our audience, we all go through this whenever it comes to writing and publishing a book. I have been there. And every one of us who writes the first book will have to go through these narrow lanes. Okay. And I was contemplating about writing this book from the last 4 years or so. And
Okay.
one thing that I did unknowingly was I announced it to my community 4 years back. And they were always coming back to me, Sandeep, when is your first book coming? We are waiting.
Now
So
that's
that,
already a very good tip, right? So it's to
yes,
already dare
announce it.
say
Yes,
it, right?
yes.
Announce it.
Yeah, and put a positive pressure on yourself. So that is what I did. So I will not be very preachy and pedantic today. I will try to say what I have gone through and what I have done. It
Thank
might
you.
work for a couple of them. So that is one thing that I did, and what I did also is when the second lockdown happened, I thought this is my last chance. The second
Right.
lockdown, I'm talking about the COVID lockdown.
Yes, right.
I thought this is, man, Sandeep, this is your last chance.
If not
If
now, when,
not
right?
now,
Yeah.
yes, then you will always look back and you will feel that you could have done that at that
Yeah, and
time.
regret it, right? Regret it.
Yes, yes. And then what I did was one very brave decision I did was I paused my life coaching business, which is I run the organization Soul in Harmony in Bangalore, in India. So I paused that. I put it on the pause mode. Anyways, there were not much online activity happening because whatever was happening was online, not much offline activity. So I
Yes,
thought that I might as well take this, loss, notional loss for the time being.
exactly.
And then I started writing. And I
But did
told to
you know
myself,
what to write? I mean, how did you even have a
yes,
framework?
yes, I had a framework, but this is for all the all the viewers to know that you will start with one idea. I had the essence, the core essence, the concentration form, everything was there, but the thing is, I did not structure the whole book. Sorry, let me rephrase. The whole book did not come across the way I structured it in the beginning. So
Okay,
there is a
right.
lot of transformation, a massive transformation of the book content, structure, everything which happens as you write and then edit the book. I'll come to that point a little later. So I just started writing that what is my core message? Let
Right.
me start writing first. So when I started writing, Julie, I told to myself that I'm only writing, I'm not editing right now.
Yeah. So you really
Uh,
let yourself, what's it called? Stream of consciousness, I think we call it. So we're
yes,
not stopping everything, we're just letting it all come out.
yes. So I just let the stream of thoughts come on the piece of paper on through my keyboard, on my
Yeah.
uh, MacBook. So that I did, and 50% of my time, 3 months, I would specify here, 3 months I just wrote, put my work on the standby, put my business on the standby.
Okay, so you made it a priority because I think that in itself is a tip,
Yes.
right? We keep saying that when we have free time, we'll get round to it. But the problem is the way our lives are nowadays, it fills very fast. It has to become a
Yeah.
priority if you're serious about doing it.
Yeah, and I'm a kind of a person where I know that I cannot multitask, and I have chosen not to multitask consciously. And
Right.
it has become a very kind of a hard coded within me that, Sandeep, you have to pick up one thing when you are on a serious project. So I thought, let me pick this one thing and not multitask. So I put everything aside, wrote for 3 months. That was uh, June, July, August of 2022, and the next 3 months. And then, should
But
I
how
tell you
did you
the
know when to stop? Because I have the problem that my book could probably go on forever and ever and ever. So how do you know when to say, because you said, okay, you had a structure to start with, but you have to also be flexible because it doesn't always go in the direction that you think, right? That
yes,
sometimes the book
yes,
takes on a life of its own and starts to take
yes.
directions. But when did you know, okay, for now at least I stop and now I need to do the editing or whatever else you did next? How
Right.
did you know to stop?
Fantastic question. You just uh, nudged me in the direction which I would have missed in today's interview. Um, we have to look at it from the reader's transformation point of view that they will go through from the beginning of the book till the end of the book. They should become different by
Right.
the time they reach the end of the book. So I used to always put myself in their shoes, and I started reading whatever I wrote for 3 months. I started reading it. And then one good thing I did, and this is a tip, golden tip for our viewers, they should have 2 or 3 peer reviewers
Yeah.
who knows the content. It could be a family member who knows them in and out. It could be somebody who knows the message that you are putting in the message. So I had 2 persons, 2 people who were very close to me and who knew what I'm doing from the last 13 years in,
Right.
when I built Soul in Harmony on my own. So they knew what I stand for. They knew what my messages are. They knew how vulnerable I want to be through the book. So when after 3 months I gave it to them, they gave me a feedback. Sandeep, this is missing. This is more. Reduce this. So
I mean,
that's
that's
peer
already a big step,
editing.
right? I think,
Yes.
I'm imagining myself in your shoes and I'm thinking, wow, you're really putting yourself out there. You've shared
Yes.
from the heart, and I can tell you're that sort of person too, and then you've got somebody else who might say, Julie Kennedy, this is absolute crap. What are you thinking of, publishing something like this?
Mm.
I mean, I suppose you have to be prepared, right, for
Yeah.
whatever feedback.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and they have to be your very close
Yeah.
people, the first circle, the closest of the first circle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So who love you enough to give you feedback that
Yes.
you can use, right? Who will say, well, this wasn't clear, or this is
Yeah.
repeating, or whatever, but who do encourage you to do that. So okay,
Yes.
so you did that, and did they suggest big changes?
No.
No. So
They
it
were not
wasn't
big
like
things.
completely redo the book or whatsoever.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the best part was that when that feedback came to me, I started restructuring the book.
Right.
Rather than, it was more about the restructuring of the book. Then I saw the framework, the 5-step framework, conscious leadership framework, that evolved.
Ah.
Then I restructured the whole thing and put it all together. So
Right. So
there is
you need to indeed, so you step back a little bit and you get an outside eye to have a look, and then you see the way forward more clearly.
yes,
That's beautiful.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Right. So how long did it take you to get all the way till the end of the writing bit where you thought, okay, this is maybe not perfect. Maybe I could add 8 million chapters, but that can be another book.
Hmm. So it was, my editing was more about cutting off
Hmm.
few things which are not required and restructuring. So these two.
Okay.
If you your to answer your question, um, it took me from the start 3 months to write, and 3 months after that to edit
Okay.
completely. So I started in June, and by November I was ready with the book.
Okay. That's
Means
short,
the
actually, I think,
manuscript.
in a big
The
picture of
manuscript.
things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was only having the
Okay.
manuscript. Yeah, but till then there was something in suspense. I thought I will just self-publish it, but actually
Yes.
that
So that
was
was going to be
not.
my next question. Okay.
Yeah, please go ahead. Ask your question. What was
Yeah,
your
because I
question?
mean, how do you do it? I mean, lots of us are either, concerned about finances
Hmm.
or concerned about technical know-how. So what did you choose? Or what did you even, I'd be interested to know. So you first thought you would self-publish.
Yeah, I thought I would self-publish, and I thought I'm a kind of person who needs that mentoring, somebody who can mentor me by the side. So I did not, unfortunately or fortunately, I did not get a good self-publisher who was not supporting me well. I
Okay.
had, put in my money there, but that was not coming proactively. So I thought, I read a little bit about how, I can keep writing. So I
Mm-hmm.
focused on the writing, and when my peer review happened, I edited, made it into the first draft of manuscript, which is looking good. So
Right.
I gave it to one of my peer reviewers, and he went through it and said, Sandeep, are you sure that you want to self-publish this? This is too good.
Okay, so because that's a very interesting point, because before we used to say indeed that self-publishing was for those who didn't manage to get themselves a publisher.
Mhm.
However, lots of people do actually choose it as a way of keeping the reins in their own hands, in controlling the process a bit more. But yes, okay, I get what you mean. So then you thought, okay, so what does one do next?
Yes.
One submits it, right?
Yeah. So I was not even knowing the terminology book proposal by that time. Could you
Yes.
believe it?
Yeah.
I searched in the blog, and I read that I have to make book proposals. So
Mm.
one full day I dedicated to drafting book proposals. And I went through and I sent it to tier one, tier two publishers, 15 to 20 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was doing my final editing thing in the parallel while I was waiting for the responses. And two responses came in, and I was happy with the first one, and I grabbed it and I just went ahead with that.
Yeah.
I did not wait for the second one came later when I was already in the contract.
Right.
So so I mean, there is a good side, there is a bad side. Good side is that, fortunately, I did not get that, I did not go through the self publisher.
Yeah.
But the bad side is that I invested there,
Yeah.
my it was my own investment, and because I
Right.
was very passionate about getting my message across. Because today, Julie, what is happening is a lot of coaches are talking about, or the coaching methodology is talking about, change your thoughts, change your belief, change your attitude, change your actions, change your life. Okay,
Yes.
but the thing is, actions, belief systems, attitudes, behaviors, we cannot change by ourselves. So
Mm.
my message is, until and unless we have that moment to moment awareness,
Mm.
we will not be able to impact the belief systems, will not be able to impact the
Yeah.
attitude, therefore the habits, actions, and thoughts.
And we're just making our life more difficult, right? It's a
Yes,
bit like,
yes.
why choose the difficult path?
Yeah, we are just intellectualizing the
Yes.
personal growth if we do
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So therefore my book's message was that get the foundation of self-awareness through mindfulness, create,
Right.
cultivate mindfulness. So that is where the whole focus was, and I was very passionate that this way or that way I need to get this book out in a very good form, and I was just positive about it that it
So
will.
why would you say, I mean, is it, is it to get credibility, to be seen as an expert? Obviously it was suddenly a bonus, so not just I need to get my message out there, whichever form, that's, the best. But okay, suddenly you've got a publisher. So we're talking about, the big league. I mean, what did you hope that the book would do for your business? So, okay, I get your sole
Yeah,
need, as in since a
yeah,
child, to share your message, right? That's one thing. But we're
yeah.
also business people, right? The more we
Absolutely.
want to reach the most people possible,
Right.
also from a value-based perspective.
Yes.
So what has it done for your book, for your company, for your, for what you do, for your service?
Right. So Soul in Harmony has been in existence from 2013, and we are into self-awareness based personal transformation. And what it has done is people have started realizing that there is something called as intuitive life coaching, where I
Mm-hmm.
blend energy in my life coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and where the self-awareness bit is also embedded into it. Okay, so after releasing this book, where I have shared little few stories about myself and about intuitive life coaching as well in bits and pieces, and how my journey was, so people, one, they have started accepting, and asking me to be guest of honor, or
Oh yeah,
or
right.
chief guest.
So you got seen as an expert, right? With
Yes,
value to share.
as an expert, as an authority, and the programs that I have created. One of the program is Self Mastery Code (CODE), which is also listed on my website, soulinharmony.in. So there, people started coming and asking, inquiring about what is this self mastery code, because I've also referenced that in the book.
Mm-hmm.
So the online program, the life coaching, the speaking opportunities that I got in
Right.
educational institutions, as well as corporate setups.
Yeah, it took you
Uh,
to a different league, right? It really
yes.
got you in visibility. Now, what did you do with the book once you'd had it, you'd invested, you had it published, etc. I mean, is this something that you were selling? Is this something that you were giving in order to interest people when you were invited to talk? What did you do with your book once you had
Okay.
it?
So till now, I have not been very aggressive about selling the book, so to say, because in self-publishing, as you know, no, sorry, in traditional
Publishing.
publishing, you have, there is not much uh, for you as
Yeah,
a,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
for an author. So my uh, objective was not to get sales by selling more books, because I knew that there is something where I can use this book as a testimony to my
Yeah,
authority,
right,
right?
right,
So
exactly.
wherever I was called as a chief guest or guest of honor or in the corporate, one thing I used to ask them is request them that I would I would feel very great. I would be happy to also place my book there when I do my workshops.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah, so it
the
was a
man,
window of opportunity for you. And of
yes.
course, it goes together because people who listen to a workshop or to a talk are curious and want to know more, and then the book is available. So it goes, it's for them too, right? It's an
So
easy
yes,
way for them to get hold of it.
so I used to have physical books there, some
Mm-hmm.
50 to 100 books I used to get in all the workshops, and the rest of them they used to also order it through Amazon. Um, yeah, so basically to get the book see the light of the day. I mean, and
Right, right.
visibility. more audience, wider visibility.
What did it change? So, okay, so we've talked about the fact that for your company as well, it's given you extra visibility and credibility, etc. What about you as a person? When we talk about the fact that, you know, so many of us have this book inside us, or many of them, etc. And, you know, how does it feel to actually hold that book in your
So
hands?
one thing profound, yeah, this is the book in my hand.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, the book in the hand experience, that the phrase that you used, I can imagine. I mean, I can tell you it was a mesmerizing experience when I had
Mm,
that book from the publisher in my hand. That is one thing. And second is, we become very conscious and we become very in sync and congruent to the message that you have written in the book once you put your 20 years of experience into a 200 pages.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
today the stage is, I will go beyond what you have asked me and say that today, if I'm asked to stand and speak 2 minutes and summarize the whole book, I can do that. Or else,
yeah,
if they ask me to speak 7 days on this topic, I will still do it.
yeah,
So I'm okay with 2 minutes. I'm okay with 7 days because there is so much of research that has gone into this.
yeah.
So the refinement process wouldn't have happened. I would say this to all my audience there, that the refinement process will happen as you write, rewrite,
Yeah,
edit,
yeah. You
re-edit,
really
and make
crystallize,
it good.
right? All
Yes,
all you are and all you think and all you believe and all your knowledge and wisdom, experience, it's
absolutely.
all focused in. And I think that must be a wonderful feeling because it makes you feel very whole, right? And it
Yes,
makes
yes.
you stand your ground and own your space. All right, now we've almost finished. If I just ask you for 3 tips, I mean, you feel free to repeat one of the ones you've already given, but so okay, consider a whole bunch of coaches out there, some who love writing, some who don't. What 3 tips would you have?
Okay. Start writing without thinking about editing.
I like that. Yeah.
Start penning down. One. Second, have a time dedicated to writing. Even
Right.
if it is 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., even if you don't want to write at that time on that day,
Commit.
decide 3 days
Yeah.
in a day, 5 days in a day, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Sit down and do nothing. But if you are doing anything, you have to write.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so these are two. Third one is, don't take editing lightly.
Mm,
People think that the entire thing is about writing,
mm-hmm.
but editing has to be with the same intensity as writing, and don't give less time to editing. Don't be in a
Right.
hurry to edit and publish and have the book in the hand. So
I think in a way it's probably the hardest bit, the editing,
yes,
because letting it stream out, if you're somebody who has a lot to say and doesn't have a problem getting the words out, I think it's the editing, the hard bit. Well, I know for me it would be. It's the cutting out, it's the tightening, it's having to go over it again and again and again. But those are very, very valuable tips, Sandeep.
and two more I would add. Two
Go
more
ahead,
I
go
would add.
ahead.
Two more would be, have very close peer reviewers
Mm,
whose reviews or review points will not affect you emotionally, and
yes.
you're okay with that. And fifth one I had in mind. Fifth one is, yeah, that let the book evolve. Be
Mm.
free about your message, but have the essence concentrated in you. Let the book evolve.
Let it live, right? It's almost like
Yes,
living. It's almost like a little
yes,
entity in its own. It's also teaching you something, right?
yes.
That's a beautiful way of looking at it. So I guess my last question to you, and that's before I get into, hopefully you'll come back and give us a masterclass as well, is there another book coming?
I have something in mind, but not so soon, at least not in 2024.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say it's not that long ago that you got this one out then, was it?
2023. It was out
Yeah,
in
exactly. That's
2023.
only a year
Yeah.
ago. Sandeep, thank you very, very much for sharing your time, your valuable time with
Thank
us
you so
in
much.
order to encourage us and share your wisdom and experience of writing a
My
book. So
pleasure.
I very much hope to have you back as a masterclass, and good luck with everything that you're doing in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much to the entire team out there, and all my best wishes to all the wannabe authors, the coaches.
Yes.
Let the life live through your book. Your
Beautiful.
life. Yeah, I mean, the book has to be an extension of your life.
And that's a good way to see it, right? It's not something on which is going to take away or take you away from something else. It is part of the whole. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Take care.